Hey everybody, thank you for joining us today. I know it's been a long 2 days, but we appreciate you still sticking around and hanging out with us. Today, I guess I can introduce myself. My name is Sarah. I've been with STAHLS for quite a while now, about 7 years. I started in concept development. Now I do stuff for trade shows and marketing. And I've always been very interested in the creative part. So I love designing stuff. A lot of the logos and samples you've seen in our marketing stuff, I've been a part of it. So I love being able to literally be creative all the time with this company. So it's a lot of fun. Feel free to comment in the comment sections where you guys are coming from and what you're excited about and whatever else you want to tell us. Today we are going to go over our new STAHLS Vinyl Designer. It is a vinyl designer that has a bunch of artwork and designs that you can use and create to use your vinyl cutter. So it's anything to do with either signed vinyl you can cut out of HTV materials, or if you wanted to take the design and put it into Transfer Express, but we'll get into all of that. And so we are I think we are here for about a half hour and there's so much to cover. So if I am going too fast, or if you need me to go back or have questions, feel free to shoot us a message and we will try our best to answer it as best we can. And if you do miss anything, or if you want to rewatch it and see everything again, you can rewatch us afterwards. And in the file section, there is a top 10 features document that you can download and keep for yourself that just covers pretty much the main things that you can do with the designer and the tools that it offers. So, all right, let's just hop right in.
While you're bringing up your screen, Sarah, there's a first question by Melissa. She wants to know if the images in the software are royalty free.
Yes. So they are royalty free. We don't really want you guys to sell them, but you can go ahead and use them and create with them and make all your garments and sell them.
So by sell them, do you mean and not to sell?
So the finished garment.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. All right. See my screen? Okay, so to get to the STAHLS Vinyl Designer, you can just go to stahls.com, the homepage, and up at the top, you'll see a Vinyl Designer button right next to the artwork uploader. So just by clicking that, and it will take you to the designer landing page. So here you'll see some info and a video, and as long as you're logged in, you'll be able to go right to the designer. If you're not logged in, it will prompt you right here to log into your STAHLS account. Or if you don't have an account with us, you can create one by clicking create one now when you go to log in. So the STAHLS Vinyl Designer is a completely free tool for all of you guys, as long as you have an account with STAHLS. So if you have an account, free to use as much as you want. So I'm logged in. And I'm scrolling down and you have this big welcome blue screen. So here you will see a couple of buttons that you can get started with, or you can just click on the space. With this designer, you can do full screen. So here's the designer. A lot of the tools and features you see in here, if you're familiar with CADWorks, Transfer Express, even Cricut Design Studio, a lot of buttons are very similar, or the tools act the same and do the same thing. So it's very, very easy to use. And once you start playing around, you're like, okay, I get it. So let's go ahead and kind of go quickly over this. So here you have a couple of different options up here. This is your main navigation bar up here. And for under add, you can get all your stuff, your assets. And then we have a couple different design tools up here. Just have this panel. Okay. So we're going to start with a design. We're going to create one together. And then while we're creating, I'll explain some of the tools as we go. So today we're going to create the design that Jenna had mentioned in her previous class today, the HDV start to finish. It's the think outside the box design that is included in the STAHLS marketing kit. So if you have that kit, you can go ahead and pull that design out, or you can apply it later. Now that you know how to make it, it'll kind of be a full circle moment for you, hopefully. Okay, so if you want to just go straight up and start your own design and making your own thing, we can go right up to the add button, and we're going to add a piece of text. So this will prompt our text box, and I'm going to type think. So I'm going to add that. And what I'm going to do, so to select and to move an object, you just can select it. You can see it's selected there, and you can move it all around. And I'm going to duplicate it. So I'm going to make a copy so I can do a couple different lines of text. And so I can either do Control D, or up here under Edit, you can duplicate it. I'm a shortcut person, so I like anything that I can just use my keyboard. And do you see these grid lines? I'm holding down the Control key while I'm moving it. Or you can also do the same for with the Shift button. So I think outside of the box. Now I have a whole bunch of things. I'm going to double click and so just by double clicking, just move this. All right, now so we have all of our words that we want. And I'm going to go ahead and select all of these objects. And under my Arrange tool, I'm going to align them to the left. So under Arrange, you can have all of your alignment tools, including if something's overlapping and you want it to be in the back, you can send it to back or down one. Or you can also right click on the selected, and you have a couple of those options here too. So we're gonna, since I was playing around, we can do this and move this down. And again, I'm using my arrow keys you can either move them with your mouse or your arrow keys. And this designer is also mobile friendly. So you can use it on your mobile device, such as your smartphone or iPad. I know Jenna really likes using it on the iPad because of the pen. All right, so we have our words, and now I'm going to, if we're thinking outside the box, I want a box on there, right? So under my add up here, I'm going to click on Clipart. So what this Clipart library is literally a library of Clipart images that you can grab and add to a design or use to make a design from. So we're slowly but surely adding as much as we possibly can into this designer. So you can either go to Clipart and view all, or click on a certain category that you're looking for. And again, some categories aren't totally full, but we are doing our best to get as much things in there for you guys to use. So I'm going to scroll down and go to shapes. As you see, a bunch of different shapes. You also have the option, if you're on a desktop, to expand this line over here if you wanted to see more than 2 rows. But I think it only goes at 2 or 3 or 4 rows. So I'm going to scroll down, and you can also click on this magnifying glass right here to search. So if I wanted a square, click enter, it'll show me the squares that I have. So by clicking, it will appear onto my screen. And so I'm going to grab that clip art that I just added, and I'm going to move it over to my design. And by clicking on these arrows, outside arrows, I can stretch it. You can also resize proportionally too by the side arrows. And for undo, see how I went like this. And then to undo, you can either do Control Z, or up here is the undo button. We're going to do Control Z to undo that. So now that we have our text in our box, we will just kind of position it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these lines of text, I'm going to select them all and click shape. And I'm actually going to group them. So this way I can move them all at one time. I'm going to take my box and move it to the back. And I'm going to select my text and the box and go under arrange and click middle. That way I know that the text is in the middle and center of this. All right, so let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see. Over here, you have a magnifying glass that you can select and zoom into your design, or you can zoom in through here. And then my select tool. So now we have the main part of the design, but I still want to do a little bit more. So we have our box word. So I'm going to do it right here, but that's not going to work because it doesn't really look good. So I'm going to select the word or the text, and I'm going to click on effects to add new. So under the effects, we have a bunch of different types of effects you can apply to text objects or clip art. So again, we have our different categories, including contour. So a lot of people are familiar with contour because it's almost like your backgrounds or your outlines or your fill gaps for if you're doing sports stuff. So I'm going to do actually a combined contour because I want it to be an outline. I want it different than that text. So I have my line of text with my effect applied to it. You can see it's gray. Every time you apply one of these effects, if it's something added onto the item, it's going to be in this gray color. So with that selected, I'm going to go under effects and click on that contour. So whatever effect you have applied to that object, you'll see under here. So I'm going to click on that contour. And as soon as I click on that, it'll automatically zoom in to make sure I can see what I'm doing. And over here on the right is our edit panel. So you'll see some steps and this dimension. So what's really, really nice about this designer is instead of having to guess the dimension or guess the offset or whatever, you can just click in this circle and scroll. So you can literally scroll until you like it rather than click, 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 or like type in a random amount and see if you like it, and it takes forever. This is very, very responsive, so easy and visual to do. So it's kind of fun and addicting. So yeah, so we can just do this. Let's do about that. So by deselecting, it'll automatically zoom back out. And I do want to move these letters a little bit further apart. So by clicking, you go back to your text properties, and I'm going to go under character spacing, and just go up a tiny, tiny bit just to space them out.
Sarah, there's a quick question here. You may know what's means by this, but she's asking if there is a distribute somewhere. Do you know what distribute would be?
Yes, and not yet. It's on my list because I'm a big distribute and align. So it is on my list. I'm not sure, obviously, the timing or when, but it is on my mind and on my list. So we'll keep you updated. All right, so we have this, and now I'm going to add another piece of clip art because I want to take a little piece of this box out. So I can just grab a square. I'm just resizing it, and I'm going to send it to back. So what I want to do is I want to kind of break this outline. And there's a couple different ways to do it, but I think this is the easiest. So I have my square, and I'm actually going to change it to a different color. So if you have something selected, and this little color square will pop up, by clicking it, it'll open the color palette, and you can scroll through here and choose a different color. Currently, we do not have actual palettes to choose from or different color squares. We only have this color wheel, but you can type in or input a hex value if you need a specific color, if you just want a specific visual. And this alpha right here is just for the transparency. But since we're doing an HTV design, we don't need transparency because can't cut a transparent design. Okay, now that I messed up the transparency. All right, so I'm going to just change it to white so I can see it, but I'm going to go up 1 so it's in front of my box. And again, I'm going to choose my word, and I want to change the color. So since this is there's an applied effect onto a text object, it sees it as 2 different colors because it started as black. And when you have multiple objects selected that are different colors, this little box up here will be this little rainbow that is telling you, oh, you have more than one color selected. So by selecting that, you can see up here what we are changing the colors of. So I want to change the gray color. So I'm going to click on the gray, and I can either change the color here, or if I want to match another color that I'm already using, I can just go ahead and click it. And so we're going to just, to see the cut lines, I'm going to click on this little 3D square right here. So we can see all of our cut lines, and obviously this is not going to be a fun cut to do. So I'm going to just make sure it's where I want it. And by selecting that and this outline box, 2 objects selected, I'm going to go under my shape and click on slice. So slice is basically like a cookie cutter. It's going to slice whatever's behind it away.
Sarah, can you explain using the keyboard how you can select 2 images at once?
Yep. So by selecting one object and then holding down the shift key, I can select more than one object. So it's just like kind of like all of your other stuff. If you just hold down the select key, it's telling you, oh, I want to grab more. And yeah, so that's it. That's the design. So it's super easy. Does anyone have any other questions so far?
Yeah, there's some more questions coming in. So Connie Wright wants to know, when you import your own image, is there a way to delete it from your files?
Yes. So going into that, so let's say we are done with this design. We're going to go up to our file and save as. Just name it and click save. So now that is in my saved folders on my account. So I can open it and see all of my stuff that I've done. And to delete anything, you can click these 3 buttons and click archive. So archive is delete. I have it in to change it to delete because there's been a little bit of confusion. But if you archive a design, it is deleted. And right now we do not have a way to retrieve that. So keep in mind, again, archive equals delete. So I don't want anyone to lose a design that they have on accident.
Great. And Patricia Taylor wants to know if they can add or import their own blanks if we do not have something they want to use as a mock-up.
Yes, absolutely. So you can, if you have an image of a t-shirt you're printing on or a hoodie or wherever, from the wherever you're getting it from, you can save that design and then go right to import. And right here, so I have this hat. So by importing this hat and this image, sometimes it takes a second if I got a lot going on my computer. Just try this again. And when you do upload a raster image, it will ask you if it's a background. I always say no, because if you choose a background image, it truly treats it as a background. You can't really, you can't put it in front of anything. You can't export just the background. It is always easier to just say no. So yeah, we have our hat, and if you have a design, you can place it right on there. And unfortunately, we do not have the capability of removing this white background. So by choosing this little palette, I can change the background of my canvas. And you see that this has a white outline or white background because it's a JPEG image that was downloaded. I cannot remove that within the designer. So we always recommend to upload a PNG with a transparent background so you don't have this here. But it honestly, it's up to you. If you're just doing it for a visual, it's totally works the same. And so let's add a quick background. I'm going to go to the background over here, or it could be found under add right here. And let's do, Jenna, I think I actually have, oh, yep. I think this is what you applied it on, right?
That's right.
All right, so I'm going to select my design, and I have my background apparel. And I can just take this and resize and place it wherever I want. Let's change that to white, make a nice image. And before I run out of time, you can always, I'm going to take good. Another way to resize the image is by clicking down here in the dimensions, and you can type in the dimension you want, or you can under edit, you can click size to fit. And here's where you can import or input your own sizes that you want to save within your account. So you can always go back to and say, oh, like this customer always likes this size left chest, or my shop's only doing this size left chest forever. So it's like, if you forget what you always do, or if you have someone else going to get the design, you can just click on that and it will automatically size to that saved design size. So you can put a different name and then put in your dimensions and add. So then we'll add to your list. Okay, so now if we are ready to cut and we're good, we can either take this design and delete our background so we only have the cut file, or we can add a new page down here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the design and do Control-C on my keyboard and click on the second page and click on the screen and do Control-V. Change so we can see it. So now I have my mock-up here, which I can right click and rename. And so now we can have it separate and we can save it like this. We can always keep our mock-up with our cut file. Let's just jump.
Sarah?
Yes.
So Melissa was asking, she was making a mock-up and she exported it as an SVG. And whenever she exported it, it automatically separated the design from the mock-up image. She wants to know if there's something she should have done different so that she can keep the design and the t-shirt grouped together for that mock-up.
So an SVG, that's a vector file format. So it will separate that raster image from your vector object. So if you want to export, if you want everything to be in one file, same as you see it here, you should export it as a JPEG or a PNG. So those are both raster image files, and it's made to keep that raster image and everything together. These vector files, the SVG especially, is going to separate the two because it's just trying to see the vector object. So let's we'll do a JPEG. And to export, you can just name it, name. BPI, I just always do 150 to keep it easy. Now you can add a watermark if you would like. You cannot really edit the watermark after, you can just kind of say put what it says. And by exporting it, it will think for a second and it will download right to your computer files. So if you ever try to download something, you're like, oh my gosh, where did it go? I cannot find it. Check your device, your device's download folder. So right here, you see that it downloaded as 2 separate files. That's because we have 2 separate pages. The only file type that you will get all in one single file is your PDF. So this is the only file format that that supports multi-page documents. So if we click this, do you see this image?
It is not coming on the screen.
I'm not sure why you can't see it, but anyway.
It looks like outside of what we're viewing that they can see it passable though.
I'm sorry, what?
We can't see it, but the viewers can see it.
Oh, okay, got it. All right, cool. So yeah, so you see that they are 2 separate files, and including that image with both the design and the shirt. So again, for proofs and to see everything with the raster together, do a raster file type. All right, any other questions before, because this is almost done?
It looks like we have all of the questions answered. Some folks actually are commenting in now that they weren't able to see it, but we did have some of our team members say that they could. So I'm not sure what happened there.
Okay.
But yeah. Oh, Connie Wright said, great job, Sarah. And then Kathy asked, can you export as a PDF?
Of course, yep. So under our file and export, you have all of these file type options. So we have, again, our raster image options if you just want to send a proof to your customer or to keep in a file somewhere, just like as a visual reference. Or you can use these to upload into your like your online storefront as product images, or to use for any marketing purposes or whatever. So this is just so people can't steal that design from you or select it and do an auto trace. So under our vector, we have our DXF file option, which if you're a silhouette cutter, this is will work for the Silhouette Studio. For PDF, a bunch of other cutters, all your commercial cutters like your Roland or your Graph Tech, and an SVG for you cricketers like me. So I live off SVG files, and this also lets you, if someone sends you a logo, or if you have a logo that's only a PDF file, Cricut does not allow you to import a PDF file. So you can always upload it into the designer and then take it and export it as SVG so you can upload it into your Cricut.
All right. I know we're over, but there is one more question. Melissa would like to know what some of the other tools on the right are. Specifically, she calls out the fourth and the 6th down from the arrow.
So you said the 4th and the 6th?
That's right.
Okay, so our 4th, we have our square. So if you click on that, you're able to draw squares and rectangles. My only thing with that is right now, I think they're coming up as with an outline. And right now there's no way to really, yeah. So if you look really closely, it has a black outline that, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it will affect it being cut because technically there's 2 lines. So I'm trying to get that part fixed as well. But if you need a quick square, you need something to put some text on, you can use that tool. Over here, we have our drawing, or we're 6, so 4, 5, 6. This is our free draw. So this just allows you to select that and click on your screen and draw shapes. And it will recognize when you just finished a shape. So it's like a quick way, oh, like, let me do that. And then it will be a cuttable object. It'll probably be a lot easier if you have an iPad than a mouse, but here's that tool.
Yeah, I'm imagining that working beautifully with the Apple Pencil.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just delete my funny business over here. And I'm sorry, there's so much I wanted to cover. And I'm sorry, I just stuck with the basics, but I just encourage everyone to get in here and try it for yourself, play around, trial and error. Best way to learn is just click buttons and see what they do. And let us know if you have any questions whatsoever. All of us are always around. So yeah, please let us know what we can do to help. And yeah, I think that's really it.
Awesome. It doesn't look like we have any more questions.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you joining today. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the sessions today and have a good weekend. It's almost Friday.